What up, Bridges? Here we are with another episode of the Bridging Divides podcast. We're so happy that you guys can join us today. We have our guest, Cooper Brooks, here today. He is the one, the only. Actually, there might be more than one Cooper Brooks, but he's the only Cooper Brooks that I know of. He is, man, just inspirational, amazing, sick tattoos, and he's my barber.
Yeah.
And he is, well, I'll let him tell you about how amazing he is. I mean, if you can't tell from like my awesome hair, he just cut it a couple days ago. But I will let him tell you. So we got some, I mean, you got some pretty cool news in terms of your barber journey and your sweet skills. Mm-hmm. So tell us about that.
From the beginning?
The competition.
Okay, so let's start there. I went to cosmetology school.
From the beginning.
Yeah, from
Back
the beginning.
when I was a little boy of
from
3
the
years
beginning.
old.
But
Too far.
So I went to barber school and then I thought it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
I needed more. I wanted more I wanted more like methods and techniques. So then I decided to go to cosmetology school. After going
Sick.
Yeah. So I went to both schools. After going to cosmetology school, halfway through, I applied for this thing called NAHA, the North American Hairstyling Awards. Student Hairstylist of the Year is what I applied for. And then I ended up becoming top 5, and then I ended up winning.
Dude, that's sick.
And then next 2 weeks from now, from that little journey, so I won.
Sorry, pause real quick. How big is that competition? Because I saw you on stage. I mean, it was not like in someone's backyard. I mean, this thing was like,
it's the most prestigious award in all of hair. Is like winning the North American Hairstyling Awards. You get this trophy. You get stage time. It actually opened another door. So that's Aveda Congress, and I'm going to be on stage for Aveda Congress, cutting hair from like 30,000 people in about 2 weeks.
Dude, are you crapping your pants, man? 30,000 people. So I don't mean to psych you out, but 30,000 people?
Yeah. So that's kind of what...
That is such an amazing opportunity.
It really, really, really is. And I'm very excited. And yeah, I am crapping my pants.
I would be. Oh my gosh, dude, that's so freaking cool. No, yeah, that is incredible. So, he's your guy. We'll make sure we put all your contact info and
sweet.
You know, we'll get all 10 people that are watching to be able to get haircuts from you. But no, dude, that's way freaking cool. Super excited. We've been planning this for a while. You know, shoot, man, how long have we been buddies? We met back in maybe like March, April, something like that, earlier this year.
No, before that.
Was it before that?
It had to have been like December. It had to have been like had to at least be like beginning of the year.
It's been a minute.
Because I didn't know that I made top 5.
Oh, that's right.
And then we got to celebrate.
That's right.
So it was well before that.
Okay. So we've known a little less than a year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, which I can't believe that we're coming up. I mean, we're in September already. It's like nuts. I guess when we're filming this, it's September 11th. But yeah, dude. So super excited. Because our conversations are always just awesome. Which I guess that's Barber 101. I feel like they should take you through that when you go through barber school and be like, look, you're going to be a therapist for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. they do tell you like essentially that if you don't know how to cut, you better know how to talk. Like in the beginning, that's the reality. That was the reality for me, because I picked up like obviously like very, very fast, and I blew up my career very, very fast. But yeah. I couldn't cut to save my life in the beginning. And then now I couldn't be happier where I'm at. But that's the truth. You have to. My friends used to tell me, they were like, you can F up every single haircut, but make them feel like $1 million because of the way that you can communicate. And if that's how it starts, that's how it starts. We all have like a starting point. I was never like out the gates the best barber in the world, and I still am not. But that was kind of like a funny thing that my friends used to tell me like all the time, and it was the truth. I was not the man back then.
Well, that brings up a good point though, which is like you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
Right.
Right. Where we look at you where you're at now, about to go cut hair on stage in front of 30,000 people compared to just getting out of school.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're not going to be at that caliber right at the beginning. But I asked you the other day, and I'll ask you again, did you see yourself there when you were just getting out of school?
Yeah. I made a 5-year plan. So
This guy, he's so much, yeah.
So in my,
You're so much better, like, organized and prepared than I am. Like, I don't even know if I have a 5-day plan.
so back in barber school, it was really, really funny because I was able to reminisce with my friend Eddie. We were in barber school together. We became like best friends. I've known him for, coming up on 4 years.
Awesome.
But in barber school, we did this thing like the 5-year plan. So first off, it was like the 6-month plan, the year, then 3, then 5. And
Awesome.
down to the exact barber chair that I have at Quicks, down to that barber chair, it's all coming through. And it's kind of the, I stated I'm going to barber school. I stated I'm going to cosmetology school. I stated, the only thing that I didn't mention in my 5-year plan was the Johnny B aspect of things. Because I said I wanted to work like with Suavecito. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it like states that I wanted to be a platform artist. But platform artist, stage artist, they're practically the exact same thing.
That's so
But
cool.
it's a platform artist, under my understanding, is a lot on a smaller scale than what I'm doing in a couple weeks.
Oh, hey, there you go.
So I kind of just blew that out of the water.
Love that.
Yeah.
How often did you keep that top of mind as you're going through all of this? Because you went to barber school and cosmetology school. Mm-hmm. When did you make the plan to when is it happening?
I made the plan 3 months into barber school.
Okay, so this like way at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Way at the beginning, I knew I had set out that I knew that I wanted to do both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot for the stars. Like, I didn't know.
I love that.
I didn't know. And then I was like, once I went to Quicks, I worked there for like maybe 6 months to a year. Then I went back to school. And then going back to school was the best move I've ever made.
Yeah. How often did you kind of take inventory of where you were going and kind of keeping it top of mind? Because you say you stated all of these things, which is so important. I say that the root of attraction is action, right? You can't attract anything if you're not willing to put the action in, right? And so you have to be moving forward. You can't just be like, oh, please God, help me do this, and then just sit on your butt all day, right? So like, how often were you checking in with yourself as you were moving forward?
On the 5-year plan?
Yeah.
One time. Because they really, at the school, they were like, we needed to do a 5-year plan. And I was like, I already did it. Like, I wanted to submit that one. And I'm reading it over, and I'm like, holy crap, it's actually happening.
That's so cool.
So then, realistically, I had to redo that 5-year plan from barber school to cosmetology school because it had already had 2 years taken out of it. So I had to start boom to there.
Oh, I gotcha. So, which is honestly, that's a good practice to have. I mean, you have to readjust as you keep going. I really like the analogy of airplanes, right? So like they're trying to get from point A to point B, right? Very simply, obviously, But in order to get there, they constantly have to be shifting and course correcting. Mm-hmm. Because if not, they'll keep going a few degrees off and end up, totally in some other place. And so you constantly have to be course correcting, shifting, adapting, setting a new 5-year plan, as you go forward. And so, I mean, it totally makes sense.
100%.
Why you need to be doing that, but. Awesome, dude. Well, hey, so as we're getting into this here, so we talked about, a big part of this, obviously, we want to know about, what your mission is, what divide are you trying to bridge, right? The Bridging Divides podcast. And so, what would you say is the mission that you're trying to do? Is it just hair? Is it, where are you trying to go with this or with whatever?
Bob Marley has a quote. and a man asked Bob Marley, it was like, "Are you rich?" And he said, "Rich in money, no, but rich in experience and rich in value, yes." And that like sat with me when I heard that, because in relation to like what you said for me, my mission kind of similar. Like it's not about the haircuts. It's not. Overall, anybody can cut your hair, and that's the truth. Like I'm gonna be so honest. You can get a good haircut from like 90% of these barbers.
You got a lot of good people
in our shop? Yeah, everybody at that point, like every single person in the barbershop that I work at can get you right. So why am I special? Yeah. So my mission is not, I mean, obviously give a good haircut. Mm-hmm. That's first and foremost. But honestly, give like a really fun, good experience. Laugh and have like, the days that I find most valuable aren't the days that I make the most money. Yeah. It's the days that I get to be like, oh, I have like an extra 10 minutes to spend with Mitch. Like I have an extra 10 minutes to spend with John. Like those are those bonds and those that you build. Like that's what it's about. It's about like the friendship, and Bridge and Divide really means a lot to me, because I can't tell you the number of clients that have become my friends that have helped me in numerous ways. And awesome. It's amazing. That's why I'm so like about your brand, because it just makes so much sense to me and what I value.
I love that, dude. Mm-hmm. No, and you and I bonded over that in pretty much every conversation that we have. You know, it's really awesome because we get these moments to be able to check in where I'm like, hey, how are you doing? What are you doing to move your goals along? And then you ask me the same thing. Hey, what are you doing? What's the next step? What are you doing? You know? And so it's this amazing opportunity. And like you said, you know, you can get your haircut from a lot of people. And I would venture to say it's like, you know, you can get so many things done in so many different ways, so many businesses that people have where they offer a service, but no one can get what you have to offer from anybody but you. Mm-hmm. You're the only one that can give that experience, you know. And I think that's a huge thing that we all need to remember, you know, is that the most valuable part of what we do is us. No matter what it is that we have to offer, we are the most valuable part of what we have to offer. Right. You know? And so you hit that right on the head, and I love that. I'm reminded why we're friends.
Yeah. It's all about the connection.
100%.
Like, I mean, that's how you like your net worth is your network.
Oh,
that one.
I love that. I love that.
It like works in all aspects, because I could be broke, but I have people that I know that could potentially help me if I'm ever that bad. And I don't think I'll ever get that bad, because I have people. And it's the people that will bring you up, people that will share the bad moments, share the good moments, share the great moments. Yeah. Like, who's going to be with you like at the bus station, but who's also going to be with you on the stage? Right. You know what I mean?
100%.
That's really what it's about.
You know, oh my gosh, dude, that's like the wisdom there is amazing, because a network is more than just, I'm going to go and I have my business associates that, you know, I'll be able to refer people to. It's like, that's great. But your network, like a real network, is people that have your back. People that have your best interest at heart. People that are going to tell you when you suck.
Yeah.
And you're going to listen to them because you know that they care. Mm-hmm. They're not just being, you know, that one person that you knew in high school. It's like, oh, you want to cut hair for a living? You want to... You're like, well, I'm about to go do it in front of 30,000 people. So yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, so all of these different things that, like those people that are in your network, that really is, like you said, where the net worth is, you know, where one of the reasons I love networking so much is because I've met so many people like that, where the key to kind of that next level of network is that connection. And if you don't open up to have a relationship, like when you're dealing with somebody, then you won't get there.
Right.
You know, like you have to be able to open up, be a little vulnerable, honestly, you know, and share a bit about yourself. You know, if they don't reciprocate, cool. They don't reciprocate. They judge you. They think you're a weirdo. Then cool. And honestly, I would say that's a good thing to have people judge you, because you now know who to kind of cut out of your circle. I had a friend of mine who she was going to do something. She was going to, I can't remember what it was that she was going to do. But I was like, yeah, go ahead, go do it. And she's like, oh, I don't want to. I'm afraid that people will judge me. I said, good. Let them judge you. Because that way you know who's not in your corner. That way you know who to cut out and who to not spend your time around. Because you only want people in your circle, not that are just going to be a bunch of yes men, yes people, we'll say, keep it PC here. But you want people that will encourage you and give you guidance, direction, feedback to be able to push you to the next level that you want to get to. You know? And so, I mean, you're talking about your buddy, who you talk with, who you plan with, the conversations we have. It's all about pushing each other. Hey, did you think about this? Did you think about this? I don't get just yeses from you. I get questions.
Yeah.
I get feedback. And I love that. That's why we're friends. Because we give that to each other.
I love whenever you challenge somebody. Exactly. Just feedback and questions and just trying to challenge your way of thinking to better yourself ultimately.
If we never had our way of thinking, our opinions challenged, how can we actually truly say that that's what we believe?
Yeah.
Because if all we have is people saying, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Like, we're never going to grow. Now, here's the thing. If someone challenges it and you really think about it, one of a few things is going to happen. You are going to have your opinion changed because you see a better way, or you're going to have that strengthened in what it was that what you were thinking. Your opinion and your belief is going to become stronger, or some hybrid of the two. But that is why we have to be open to feedback. Otherwise you're never going to find the next thing, never be pushed to the next thing. When I was I was on a mission trip in Uruguay. I was 19. Shoot, man, that was 14 years ago. Jeez. A while ago. It's been a minute. But I learned Spanish to the point where by the time I left 2 years later, people thought that I was from there. Like, where are you from? I was like, oh, I'm from the States. And they're like, oh, that's funny. But like, where in the neighborhood are you from? Like, where do you live? And I was like, no, I'm not from here. I'm from the States. And they were just like, couldn't believe it. But the only way that I got to that point was by telling people, if I'm saying something wrong, I don't care how nitpicky it is, tell me what I'm doing wrong so that I know how to fix it. If I don't get feedback, I don't know what to improve on next. So we have to be open to that. Otherwise, we're never going to improve. How would you have gotten to where you're at now if you were never open to your teachers, your mentors telling you, hey, you're doing this wrong. Hey, you could do this better. Hey, maybe try this instead. You'd never be getting on stage like you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But so just kind of moving along with some of these questions that I sent you, and we kind of been talking about them. How have you viewed success, or better yet, how has your perception of what success is changed as you've been going from the beginning to present?
I think, success is an arbitrary thought, because some people would say that success is being sober for a year. Some people say success is making $1 million by 21.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Success is a weird thing. I think as I was younger, success meant to be like having all the money in the world.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I think success is more or less having time. Having having the more free time you have, the more successful you are. And that's kind of how I want to think about it, because it's not about money, because money comes and goes. Money comes and goes, like apartments come and go, like everything, cars come and go.
You can make more money, but you can't make more time.
Yeah, I think exactly. And I just think that time is the most valuable thing. And that's what makes a person successful, is having all the time that you could possibly need to spend in the correct way, and not necessarily being a burnout, going to raves every single night, but more or less spending it with the people you love.
I love that. Going to raves with the people you love.
Going to
That's
raves,
success.
that's the success.
No, but 100%, dude. Oh my gosh. Like you said that and it just all of a sudden clicked for me. And it's like, yes, that's how I view success. And I didn't have words for it until you said that. But like with my family, we have always, that is what we've prized over everything. You know, I mean, you saw my house, there's boxes and there's garbage on the floor or whatever. But whether it's a job or whether it's, you know, keeping the house immaculate is not the most important thing. I do like having a clean house, don't get me wrong. But time is what's most important. Time is that measure of happiness, I feel like, you know, that truly tells me like, hey, yeah, you're successful. Like my kids, I don't have a 9-to-5 job. And I haven't for, shoot, man, it's been 2 or 3 years now. And so for these younger ones that I've got, that's all they know is dad being home. You know, I mean, I go to meetings and this and that and the other, but I'm home just as much as my wife is. And so it's like there's, you know, they mix us up all the time. They call me mom, they call her dad and all that. And just because it's all, they're almost interchangeable in their minds. But I've had opportunities to get high paying jobs, 6-figure jobs, but it would take me away from my family more than I was willing to sacrifice, you know, because there are other ways to make money. We've talked about a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know, million ways to make $1 million. Like, I love that because there really are, you know, the ways that you have of making money are only limited by your imagination.
Yeah.
You know, how you see that going forward. But I love that. Success is determined by the amount of free time that you have. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that. So here's a question I really like, because this is, success is great, business is great, money and all this other stuff that we talk about a lot, have a lot of business owners on. But one of my favorite questions to ask is, what limiting beliefs have you overcome in the journey that you've had up until now?
So you and I have a background of being in the Navy.
Yes.
When you were about to get out, I want to know if you had the same experience, because it destroys me to even talk about it. But did anybody ever say, if you get out, you're gonna fail?
Yes.
All the time.
I did.
But what you need to realize,
It was insane.
it was
Blew
in
my mind.
Everybody. But at the end of the day, it's the officers and the chiefs that had never done anything else with their lives. Mm-hmm. So that's the worst. That was the worst, was hearing that. And I still hear it in my head today.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, oh, you get out, you're going to fail, you're not going to make any money. Hell, man, I make 10 times as much as I made while I was in.
Yeah.
I really do. Wow. Isn't that crazy?
I know.
And it's just like, it's so crazy to me. They were like, you're going to fail, you're going to fail, you're going to fail. That's like something I had to overcome. However, it was fuel. It was a lot of fuel because I didn't want to fail. There was no way. There's no way I'm going to fail. I wouldn't allow myself to. In the beginning, I would cut hair at like parties until like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And it was kind of funny. I was messing everybody up. I was drunk. Who cares? Nobody cared.
Yeah.
But
they wake up with this haircut.
They wake up and it's all awful.
What the heck?
Yeah. I wanted to be better. And I always wanted to be successful in that way. And the way that I had to be successful was to learn every single day. And that was kind of the goal. But that's one thing that I had to overcome. And it's just like, I don't know, we all have our trauma from our families. But they had to help. They got into my head too. So I had to overcome like a lot of family stuff to be who I am today.
Yeah, and I think that I really like what you said about fuel, about how those negative experiences that we have, whether it's, you know, trauma that we've had or people telling us we're going to fail. I mean, oh my gosh, it's not even like, well, good luck. It's like, no, you're just flat out, this is going to go horribly wrong and you're going to fail at this. Those negative experiences that we have can either break us down or provide fuel. That's the cool thing about fire, is that the fire of what we go through can either destroy or provide fuel, propulsion, move us forward. I was thinking the other day about how failure isn't necessarily even a bad thing, so long as it serves a purpose. I was talking in one of our other episodes, which I'll link it to you guys, which was super, super great. She talked about how failure, like, you want to fail, but so long as you're moving forward, and you want to fail a lot. And so frequent failure is the fastest way forward. Making those haircuts, they're awful, to use your example. Make those enough where you go, oh yeah, and so now I know what to do different. So you have to be willing to make those failures, and with the understanding that you're just going to you're going to pick yourself up again in when it happens. So it's interesting because there's kind of a couple perspectives. You can be in the moment when you are just been knocked down on your butt, and you're like, okay, I'm going to pick myself up and I'm going to keep going. But it should go even a step further back, where you say, I know that I'm going to get knocked on my butt. And when I do get knocked down, I will get back up, because I know that that is how I am going to succeed, and I'm going to be stronger for it. So I love that. And it's discouraging, and it's kind of, it kind of breaks your heart a little bit when you have someone flat out tell you, like, oh yeah, you're never gonna make it, and it's such, and honestly, my heart breaks for them because of the limited vision that they have for their own lives. Because a lot of times when people project negativity, it's a reflection of what's going on inside. Mm-hmm. And I think that we need to understand that and take those negative things that people say with a grain of salt, and understand that they probably got some stuff going on themselves. And the best way to change their minds is to not pay attention to it, in the sense that you're not going to let it break you down and keep you from pursuing your goals. Prove them wrong. Show them a better way. Show them that they were wrong by succeeding, so that it gives you hope, gives them hope, and ultimately just makes everybody better. But yeah, that's super awesome. One of my other favorite questions here is, how have you used your unique strengths to succeed with what you're doing in your life, really, in general?
Communication is key, and just having a conversation can take you so far. That'll take you farther than anything else in the world. Why am I here? Because we started talking. Mm-hmm. So that's what is a unique strength to me, because I can talk to anyone about anything. So in that way, something that really, really does help and reflect is I can talk to anybody about anything. It got me onto this podcast. Yeah. Having that communication with others has gotten me so far. I am not self-made. Ever. Not at all. My success is linked to thousands of people because of communication.
Yeah. I love that. Oh my gosh. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm sure other people have said this too, but I remember a video clip of him saying that nobody is self-made. The self-made man, self-made person does not exist. He's like, there were people that helped me get to the country, people that helped me with, lifting, with acting, with all these different things. I think that, yeah, that's 100%. We cannot do this alone. And honestly, that's one of the huge, huge things about bridging divides, is that we succeed when we all succeed. Mm-hmm. I succeed when we succeed together, and we do that by communicating. Like you say, when we find out, we have a vision of what we are trying to accomplish, our side of the bridge, right? And then we go and we talk to as many people as we can to figure out what their sides are, right? So with this podcast, for example, my side is I want people on. I want people, I want to interview people that we have good, stimulating conversations that are deeper than just the surface level stuff that we all, the hi, how are you? I'm fine, thanks, how are you? That surface level stuff that we do every day. Those are the people I want. That's my half of the bridge, right? Or that's the part that I'm missing, is the person coming on. Then you coming on, you complete that bridge and it helps me. But bridges go both ways. So it's helping you by talking about you and what you do. And that's why I love this format of what I do, because it allows that mutual kind of benefit. And it's not like you're not doing it with the expectation of getting something back, because that's just a transaction at that point. And life is not transactional, it's relational. You're not going to get to the end of your life and be like, man, I wish that I'd made one more sale. Nobody gets to that point and says that. Or I don't know, maybe there's one person, or I don't know. But the stereotypical experience that somebody has on their deathbed is not like that. And so by living your life in a way where you're giving without expecting anything in return is really how you're going to succeed in a way that nobody else will. Because it will come back to you. And a lot of times it'll come back tenfold.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen with me. One thing that I say to somebody that I didn't expect to go anywhere ends up becoming this huge opportunity where if I hadn't have given that without expecting anything, then it never would have happened. And so I love that. But yeah, communication, that is like one of my huge core values of life, is to communicate with people. Like you have, and we just released a short the other day about how communication is key to be able to move forward with anything. You have to communicate in a romantic relationship. You have to communicate constantly about what it is that you're going through. In a work relationship, you have to, with a boss, or even with an employee, with a coworker, you have to communicate in order to find the best path forward, But, so we're approaching the end of our time here. But one of my favorite questions here is the positivity prize fighter segment, is what I call it, which I think we've talked about a little bit, where in a prize fight, you don't lose a prize fight by getting knocked down. You lose by not getting back up, right? And so the positivity prize fighter segment is about, obviously positivity, but positivity not in the sense where you just go, yeah, everything's fine. You're knocked out on the floor and you're bleeding or whatever, and you're like, yeah, life's great. That's not positivity in my mind. Positivity is when you get knocked down, getting back up because you believe that it is worth getting back up. So like, what's a moment in your life where you have been knocked down and you chose to get back up and keep fighting?
How much time do we have? No, I have a really interesting story. So life punched me in the face. I moved to Arizona alone. So I moved to Arizona. My ex broke up with me. It was just like, it was a lot. It was just like all of that being like...
It all hit the fan.
Yeah, it all hit the fan. And then like, I just moved into like a 1-bed, 1-bath apartment. I'm losing my mind. I woke up at 5:55. I remember that time. So 5:55, I woke up and I was like, I need to get out of this house. I need to go for a hike. And I met this woman. Her name was Kimberly. And so I met Kimberly, and Kimberly just like, she like lifted my spirits like crazy. I'm on this hike. I'm moping around at 7 a.m. and I hate life. And Kimberly's talking to me. She invited me to breakfast. So she invited me to breakfast. She just talked me through everything. Oh, wow. Like it felt like I met God. Like it was like that kind of a situation.
I love that.
It was weird. It was like, I know it sounds freaking nuts, but she told me to read this book, and it was called How to Defeat the Devil.
Ooh.
So it was like, she was a godly woman.
Yeah.
Period. Invited me to breakfast. Great woman. I called my mom. My mom tells me, she was like, she told me to listen to a podcast. And I did. She also told me to stop listening to rap music. It worked. Because I was the most negative I'd ever been in my whole life. So she told me to listen to this podcast. It was about anxiety.
Yeah.
And then she told me to stop listening to rap music. She was like, just do it for a week. Wake up in the morning. Don't listen to rap music. Listen to anything else. And I rarely listen to rap to this day. And that was like almost 3, maybe 4 years ago. And from that moment, rap music was so negative, and I was only listening to negative stuff every second of the day. And it made me into a negative mood. Stopped doing that, and I became positive. And I do believe lie. Like, I do believe lie about the positivity. Sometimes the day sucks, and you know that. Mm-hmm. But don't spread negativity. Do whatever you can. Fake it till you make it, mm-hmm. because you have to share that positivity. And I'm generally a happy person 6 out of 7 days of the week. But there is that time where you're just not in it. Mm-hmm. But if you try to uplift positivity, I might make you positive, and you might gas me up. And then at that point, I'm positive again. And it's real positivity. So I just believe, don't share the negativity. Because if you can brighten someone else's day, that just makes me on top of the moon. That probably makes me more positive if I can make somebody else's day better.
Isn't that interesting how that happens, where it's like when we're going through something, we've got our own problems. When we focus on helping somebody else with their problems, all of a sudden we forget about ours. Mm-hmm. How crazy is that? It's this beautiful, beautiful principle. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's a wrap. I feel like that's such a perfect note to end on, because you're going to go through ups and downs no matter what in your life. But would you rather go through them believing it can get better, or just going, yeah, life sucks, I'm done?
Throw in the towel.
Yeah. It's like you're gonna go through it either way. So you want to go through it with a smile, or you want to go through it with a frown, that kind of a thing. But no, that's super, super awesome. Man, Coop, I've loved having you on. I'm super, super happy that we're friends. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This guy, man, he's just a stud and just an amazing, beautiful human being, and just love having you in my life. Every time that I'm with you, I always get my spirits lifted. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I can do this, here. Let's go. And that's awesome. And I love that we can be that for each other. Hope that I can be that for you guys a little bit. And we want you to be that for us. Leave comments and share your stories about your positivity prize fighter moments, so that we can all learn from you and your amazing experiences. It's been great to have you guys. We will look forward to having another episode with you next week. We'll see you later.